Egypt.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Fattah al-Sisi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel started summit talks on Thursday. President Sisi and Merkel are slated to discuss means of boosting bilateral relations in various domains, in addition to a number of regional and international issues of mutual concern. Merkel is joined by a business delegation that could sweeten the diplomacy with investments. German Chancellor Angela Merkel had arrived earlier in Egypt at the start of a two-day official visit. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail received Merkel upon her arrival at Cairo airport, and the German Chancellor heads to Al Ittihadiyya Palace, or headed actually to Ittihadiyya Palace for summit talks with President Fattah al-Sisi. And to shed more light on German Chancellor Angela Merkel's visit to Egypt, we are joined over the phone by Nile TV's correspondent in Al Ittihadiyya, Taghreed Hussein. Taghreed? Taghreed? Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us a report with regards to German Chancellor Angela Merkel's visit to Cairo. We'll overwatch the report now. Until we're back again, we have some technical problems with a phone call.
Cairo hosts on Thursday an Egyptian-German summit between President Fattah al-Sisi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Merkel has a busy agenda during her two-day visit. In a press conference 2 days ahead of Merkel's first visit to Cairo, the German ambassador to Egypt said that the issue of combating terrorism, illegal migration, and the resumption of German NGOs operating in civil society in Egypt will be on the table for discussions. The envoy described the visit as a major political event and a climax in relations. The ambassador said that Germany is indeed interested in investing in Egypt, announcing that 19 major German CEOs will be visiting with Merkel, including German Siemens CEO Joe Kaeser. German investments in Egypt are estimated to total 1.5 billion euros and provide around 22,000 jobs. Kaeser joins el-Sisi and Merkel in the inauguration of the first phase of the Siemens mega project to build 3 new power plants in Egypt. The first phase of the project to bolster the country's power capacity was completed, in which 4.8 gigawatts of power connected to the national grid. El-Sisi and Merkel inaugurate the first stage of the project's new power plants in Beni Suef, Borollos, and the new administrative capital through a video conference. Merkel's visit is the first since 2007. In 2015, the German company Siemens signed an 8 billion euros deal with the Egyptian government to build 3 combined cycle power plants and 12 wind power installations at a capacity of 16.4 gigawatts. The project aims to boost Egypt's power generation capacity by around 50% by completion in May 2018.
And to shed more light on the latest developments taking place in Al Ittihadiyya in light of the current visit by German Chancellor Angela Merkel to Egypt, we have with us from Al Ittihadiyya Nile TV's correspondent Taghreed Hussein. Taghreed? Hello, Taghreed. What's the latest now in Ittihadiyya after Prime Minister Sharif Ismail received German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the summit talk started with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi?
We're expecting a joint press conference by both leaders, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. This press conference is expected to take place shortly, and reputable media organizations are attending this important press conference. Earlier in the day, the German Chancellor Merkel had arrived on an official visit to the country for talks with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Merkel, as you know, Mahisti, is accompanied by a high-level economic delegation, and holding talks, they focused more on fostering bilateral cooperation in the economic field. More than one important file. Many files are there on the agenda, including the latest developments in Libya, fighting terrorism, illegal immigration, security conditions in the Middle East and Africa. All that is on the agenda. The German Chancellor earlier expressed how Egypt is playing a pivotal role in the region and how Egypt is playing a key role in maintaining regional stability. More than one important file actually on the agenda. if we talk on this panorama concerning the field of culture and education, as you know that the cultural cooperation protocol between both nations had been signed back in 1959, and that was a major framework that organized Egyptian-German cultural relations, and later on cultural agreements were signed back in 1979 and 81 for cultural and scientific cooperation between the two nations. Different aspects of cooperation between the two sides diversify through the Goethe Institute in Cairo and in Alexandria. We do have definitely the German University in Cairo, which is considered to be a bridge of cooperation between the two countries. So leaders are also talking on this important file. The file of education is there on the agenda. Tourism, as you know, Germans accounted for the greatest number of tourists to visit Egypt back in 2016, so we are opting to increase the number of the German tourists visiting the country. The German Chancellor later on in the day after attending this press conference, she is expected to meet with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayyib, and also with the Coptic Orthodox Pope, Pope Tawadros II, before wrapping up the visit. The visit is expected to wrap up on Friday, where she heads later to Tunisia.
Yes.
As you know, Mahisti, that this is a very important visit, a very important indicator of the distinctive Egyptian-German relations, not only in the field of politics and economics, but also including the signing of accords in the different fields. We talked about culture. There are also more than one file of cooperation in the field of science and in civil society. So definitely it is looked upon, this important visit, as giving a push to the performance of the German institutions working in Egypt. This is the third time Chancellor Merkel visits the country. She earlier visited the country back in 2007 and in 2009. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the German Chancellor back in May of 2015. That was during his first official visit to Europe. So we're expecting this important press conference by both leaders, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the German Chancellor. There are priority files. As you know, Germany is providing funding for many projects, including the construction of primary schools, industrial environmental protection, administrative reform, supporting the population council, measures to promote urban development in Greater Cairo, and more, definitely in the field of also renewable energy and water and solid waste management. There is also going to be some sort of a push in the field of small and medium-sized enterprises, with a special focus on the young, as Egypt, as you know, is investing in the youth, our real treasure. Mahisti.
Yes, Taghreed, thank you very much for your input, and we'll be back to you throughout the day, of course, for more updates on the visit by the German Chancellor Angela Merkel to Egypt. Thank you very much, Taghreed.
Thank you.
Egypt and Germany have been working to boost their relations in recent years, and the two countries' ties have improved remarkably in various fields after President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's visit to Germany in 2015. More details and an in-depth look in the following report.
Egypt and Germany have strengthened relations over the past few years in many fields. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi visited Germany in June 2015 in a trip that was hailed by the state as a maker of successful relations between the two countries, heralding a number of major business deals. El-Sisi's visit was also marked by the presence of 140 high-profile figures in his entourage. Merkel's visit, the first since 2007, is set to give another boost to the relations. Earlier this year, Germany removed restrictions on flights to South Sinai implemented after the 2015 crash of Russian passenger. Germans accounted for the greatest number of tourists to visit Egypt in 2016 at 655,000 people, according to a foreign ministry statement. In preparation for German Chancellor Angela Merkel's visit to Egypt, a number of high-profile German MPs arrived in Cairo this month. Speaker of the House of Representatives Ali Abdel met the German delegation led by the Deputy Speaker of the German Parliament, Bundestag. The pair discussed boosting cooperation between Egypt and Germany in different fields and the possibility of creating new common grounds between Egypt and Germany on a number of international and regional issues. The talks covered in details new laws which were issued to fight illegal migration, human trafficking and combating terrorism. The German parliamentary delegation also met with Prime Minister Sharif Ismail and the newly appointed Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Omar Marwan. Ismail gave the German delegation a brief about Egypt's economic and political reforms and the war against terrorism. Sources said that Ismail spoke about the fact that around 5 million refugees are now living in Egypt. For the first time ever, Egypt received a German-made submarine. This came within a deal made between the two nations for submarines to help protect the Egyptian national security and its economic interests. During her visit, Merkel also meets with the Azhar's Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, as well as another meeting with Pope Tawadros II. The meeting falls under Germany's care of discussions between representatives of religions on its lands ahead of an upcoming Islamic conference in Germany. On Monday, Merkel said in an interview with Egyptian Copts, "We're living in peace in Egypt and freely exercising the religious worships."
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received Lebanese Cardinal Bishara Boutros, Patriarch of the Catholic Church, and Iraqi Patriarch Louis Raphael Sacco. Presidential spokesman Ala Youssef said that the President hailed the participations of the two religious figures in the Freedom and Citizenship Conference, which was organized by Al Azhar Institution. The President also stressed on the importance of the values of tolerance, peace, and accepting the other, denouncing ideologies adopted by the terrorist organizations.
كمان سلاح. عقيد مقاتل احمد الصياد من القوات المسلحه. حارس الشرف جاهز للتفتيش يا فندم.